Hi, Alessia.
Hi.
Welcome to Q.
Thank you.
Nice to see you again.
Good to see you. It's been a while, I think.
It's been, I think, exactly 1 year.
Yeah.
Maybe not to the day.
That would be crazy if it was to the day, though.
But
I don't know.
But it's a pretty big year. I mean, you're going to be hosting the Junos.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Well, let me run it down. So
Yeah.
Since we last talked, you put out the EP, you put it this summer.
Mm-hmm.
You toured for pretty much all of 2019.
Yeah.
You were nominated for 6 Junos, Juno Fan Choice, Single of the Year, Album of the Year, Artist of the Year, Songwriter of the Year. That's a great one.
That's a great one.
Pop Album of the Year, and you'll be hosting it. So congrats on everything.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, it's been really crazy. I, for some reason, didn't think with the timing of my last record that it would be eligible this year for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, I just didn't expect to be nominated. I was like, I won't get anything. And I just didn't think, I don't know, because I'm hosting, I just thought that was it. And then like 5 minutes before the red carpet, I found out that I had 6. I was like, it didn't take in the timing. It's crazy. I really went into it without expecting anything, so that was cool.
I want to talk about, like, because I think when I said to you that you toured most of 2019, I kind of noticed you kind of go, right.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, yeah.
Because you said that touring last year and releasing this EP turned on a lot of lights for you that run deeper than songwriting.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, I think, I don't know, you learn sort of, I don't know, a lot about yourself when, first of all, you make a record that's like really emotional and really reflective, and you're kind of forced to talk about things that you don't necessarily get to think about a lot when you're working so much, but then at the same time, you're like on the road and having to process things, and you, I don't know, there's just...
Like what? Like what do you...
Like, I think I experienced a delay of emotions that I didn't get the chance to feel when I was dealing with them the year before. And so I had to sort of deal with them while I was on tour this year. Like, it was very delayed because I was working so much in a different way last year, to where like all these old feelings that I thought I was getting over, or things that I thought I was working on, sort of started coming back this year.
Some stress and anxieties.
Yeah, anxieties and past things that I thought I was healing from, or that I thought I dealt with, which in reality I just kind of pushed aside. And then they all kind of came up while on the road, which was interesting because you have to like maneuver that and figure out how to balance like having your game face on and working and being happy for the crowd, but then also like kind of dealing with yourself. And
yeah.
I don't know, it was a lot of growth. And then I also wrote a record in the middle of that tour, which is this summer, which kind of forced me to talk about things while on the road, which is interesting. I've never really done that. I think I've always sort of set aside time to write albums and then tour. Like, they were very separate, but this time it was like intertwining both, so I really had to dig deep while working, which was kind of interesting.
Because that's incongruent, right? The idea of processing emotion, like processing something you're going through and touring at the same time. Like, I find, like, just personally, I find that it's almost impossible. Like, I keep on saying, like, you know what, 2 weeks from now, I'll get a chance to think about this.
Exactly.
So I can't imagine, but writing is such like a cathartic process, right? Like, to do that and be constantly in transit at the same time, I can't imagine what that's like.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I think certain feelings you can sort of push away, but then when they've mustered up for a long time, or very specific feelings just sort of stay there, and then they don't really wait for you to be alone. You know, they kind of just are at the forefront all of a sudden, and you're sort of forced to deal with them or talk about them in order to continue doing your job the right way. Because in a sense, you have to still be professional and push forward. You can't just like be a recluse while a bunch of people are relying on you. So while that was hard, I think it was very necessary at the time for me to get through all those months of touring, for sure.
So how does OK OK, like one of the songs on this summer, how does that fit into this? Because that's like the most positive, happy song I've ever heard in my life.
I know, well, definitely the most positive that I've written, because usually my stuff is very, you know, there's always a little edge. And also even this, like, if you really listen to the lyrics, there is a sense of like self-deprecation in there still, because I'm saying like, I don't really feel like this, but maybe if I write it down, then eventually I will. So that song is how I want it to feel, or how I still want to feel, you know, and every time I sing it, I do kind of get into that mode, I guess, but I wouldn't say I'm all the way there.
Was the inspiration to write the song, like, I want to write something? Because I should say that the song is like incredibly like, you can do this, you can do it, you're going to be great.
Yeah.
Was the inspiration that you wanted to write something to tell yourself that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it was like trying to put a different perspective on a lot of, you know, situations that have happened to me, but also the way that I view myself, you know, my own reflection of myself. It's sometimes very skewed to where I like just think I'm like not as cool as people see me, or like not as good, you know, as I don't know, some of my fans tell me I am. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm worthy of all this stuff. And so this song was like how I want to see myself. And I want to be like,
Yeah.
look at all the stuff I've been through and look at where I am. Just like, look at me, I'm doing okay, you know? And it's a hard place to put yourself in. So I wanted a song where I can like, you know, perform it and kind of go there, even if it's for a moment, to where eventually I'll feel that way.
And are you able to fake it till you make it? Like when you do perform it, are you feeling like kind of like?
Definitely when I perform it, yeah. Like
Yeah.
I definitely go there, which is nice because, you know, your songs kind of take you to different places, and it's nice to get out of that emotional side and just have a moment where I can remind myself, you know, like, you're doing okay, you know?
You're doing just fine, man.
I think.
And I also think, I mean, what do I know? But like, I think it's really amazing, and I think it's really powerful, and it's always been kind of what I really loved about you and your music, is that I think we all just assume that there's a correlation between success and like dreams coming true. And there's this like famous story of you like practicing your acceptance speech in the mirror when you were a kid.
Yeah, that is true.
And then you get to do it when you were doing the Grammy. That was such a big story. And I mean this in the best possible way, and I think you'll take it that way, but like there's something inspiring, heartening about hearing that can happen, and you still be like, I don't really know if I deserve any of this stuff. You know, like you can win a Grammy, you can beat the Junos, you know, like.
Yeah, and actually, in fact, it probably like for me is sometimes like I'm not speaking for others, but for me like it's almost more so when you get all those things and when your dreams come true. Like my self-deprecation sometimes like I don't know, it gets worse. Like my view of myself almost gets worse because the more accolades you receive, the more lonely you can feel and the more confused you can feel about all of it. And for me, for a while, it was like, am I even deserving of all this stuff? Whereas when you're still achieving the dream, there's like somewhere to go, so you're trying to lift yourself up and you think like, once I get there, then I'll feel great. And it's not the case. Like it's not the case with anything, with fame, with money, with any sort of accolade or you know, achievement. It's not always the case. It's not like you reach a point like you're in like a video game and like that end point is like, woo. Yeah. It's a constant sort of, I don't know, conversation you have to have with yourself, and it's never linear, it changes.
But you can tell yourself that. You can be like, if only I made my, you know, if only I won a, or if only I got married to a blah.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
exactly.
Never get married to a blah.
Yeah,
but
never.
if you know, it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
But then I'll be happy, you know? Life doesn't work like that.
It's not the case. It's often like it comes from you, and if you don't deal with the stuff that's going on, no matter what paper you wrap it in, it's always gonna come out eventually. So you got to deal with that first.
And it seems like the way it's coming out, and it seems that the way you're dealing with it is through your writing. I can tell, like, when we were talking about the fame and all that stuff, but when I mentioned at the beginning, like I kind of listed down your awards, and I said Songwriter of the Year, and that's how you kind of go like, you know? I think it's really meaningful to you to be recognized as a songwriter. Absolutely,
yeah, for a bunch of different reasons. I think primarily because this was the first record or like whole album that I wrote by myself, which was a huge achievement. It's something I've always wanted to do, and while I love, you know, my collaborator on my first album, Sebastian Cole, it was just nice to like, I don't know, have my own voice completely and have my fans know that every word came from me and that I could do that. But also, I think in the pop industry, being a young woman, it's very common for people to be like, but who really did this?
Oh, yeah.
Like, who did, yeah, your name's on it, but did you really write this? And it's just nice to know that, you know, something as big as the Junos can acknowledge that it was me and that, you know, just acknowledging me for that. It's nice. And you don't really feel all the time like your emotions are valuable enough to be cared about or acknowledged in that way, you know? So it's nice that, you know, the moments that I didn't always feel so good are connecting the way that I guess, hoped.
That's such nonsense, hey? That, like, whenever I like talk to, because, you know, listen, look at me, I got a beard and I like music, so when I'm talking to other dudes with beards and music, and I'll be like, hey, I really like Taylor Swift or something like that, or hey, I like Casey Musgraves a lot.
I love Casey Musgraves.
Incredible.
She's a great songwriter, yeah.
Unreal. And then they'll be like, yeah, she's good, but man, who's really writing that stuff?
Yeah, see, you don't say that about like Chris Martin. Do you really think like some like Coldplay or like, I don't know, Bono, or like these great songwriters, you never hear that. Like, have you ever heard anyone be like, but who's really writing Chris Martin's songs? You just say like, he's a genius. But I find that especially in the pop world with girls, I hate to be that person to bring up gender, but it's like, it's true. Like,
absolutely,
that's the reaction you get. And I get it. Like, I look like I'm like 10 years old too. Like, I get that people don't even realize how old I am, that I actually am mature enough to reflect on my emotions and you know, express them. But in reality, that's the only way I can do it. Like, I'm not good at explaining if it's not like in song. That's just how I do it. But I'm just glad that people can acknowledge that it's, you know, valuable and they believe me.
Is it the kind of thing that you can, like, you don't know how you're feeling until until you're writing the song? Like,
Totally,
like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. I think I really have to write a song for me to look back, like think back and be like, okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Because I can never say it when I'm talking. Like, I find like when I'm trying to have that conversation with the person or with myself even, it doesn't make sense because you're never fully truthful. But I feel like songs just sort of like can get the truth out of you. I think Haley Williams said like songs know you. Like they're always like, you're BSing right now. Like, this is what you're really feeling. So it's nice. It's nice to have that, you know, outlet, I guess.
By the way, you know who really wrote Chris Martin songs?
Who? You. I was gonna say. I didn't want to say it, but I'm like, I think.
You know what?
Mr. Power wrote it.
Let's just say Yellow bought this jacket. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yellow took this one out. This is what's happened there.
That's the best thing I've ever.
So you were on tour a lot. You went with Shawn Mendes, another Canadian.
Yeah.
International. How many shows did you do last year, you think?
I think it was, we counted, I think it was 115, I think 105, something like that, around
That doesn't
there.
include travel days. Like, that's a lot of time.
That was a lot of shows. Yeah, it was crazy. It was so fun, don't get me wrong, but man, like I was beat by the end of it.
Yeah, because you wrote your big hit single was about like how you don't want to go out.
Yeah, I know. Weird how my life works. It's very ironic. It's like life just gives you the opposite of what you think. But you know what? I think I needed that because I wrote, like when we did Here, I was very much in like a very traditional, I lived a very traditional lifestyle where it was like home, school, that was it. Like I wasn't allowed to go out. I was in a very like strict household. I didn't know the world. And so I think kind of life sometimes gives you what you need in a weird way. It was a very extreme way, but I feel like I went from that to like seeing 10 different parts of the world in like less than a week. And that's just like my norm. So while that's like very scary, I think it's really cool to have gone from that to this and, you know.
Yeah, you took your friend Olivia on this tour?
Yeah.
And was she your buddy back when you were going to home to school? Was she your buddy back then?
She was. We've been best friends since we were 10 years old.
So what does she make of this? Like, what is she like? And is it also the kind of thing where like you see things and you're kind of like, oh yeah, whatever. This is just like, you know, a TV that's in a mirror. And she's like, what, a TV that's in a mirror?
Yeah. I think.
Free hummus?
That's a lot of free hummus on the road, by the way.
Yeah.
Really cool.
That's great.
A perk, for sure.
Shout out.
Shout out to the hummus lovers out there. She definitely is into hummus, more so than me, actually. But no, she's very, I think she's also great as a reminder, too. Like, this is cool. You know that this is great, right? Like, because
What do you mean?
Because again, going back, like I hate to sound like a downer, but I'm always just like so in my head about stuff, and I sometimes don't see how cool something is or an opportunity is until after the fact because I'm so worried about it, or I just can't process. I take a while to process things, you know, see this last tour and how I'm still dealing with stuff from like 3 years ago. But like, yeah, I take a while to like process. So she's very in the moment. She's a very in the moment type of person. So she's kind of reeled me in a bunch of times and reminded me like, let's be here. Like, don't worry. Like, this is really amazing, like what you're doing, you know, and what we get to do together. So I feel like with her, especially this last year, we've had so many moments of taking things in, which I'm so glad we got to do that together, and just a lot of happy crying and a lot of good feelings, which I don't think I would have had otherwise because I just would be way too in my head about everything. So it's great.
What a gift that is.
It's the best. It's so good, especially in this industry, in this world. It's like, it's this little bubble that you're in. It's so easy to just let things go by because it's so fast paced, and like a day feels like a year sometimes, or like a year can feel like a day sometimes. So it's nice to just have someone who wasn't necessarily used to this world like remind me that it's not something everyone gets to live, and that, you know, I shouldn't worry too much about it because it's great.
Yeah, I mean, my buddy Shad, he used to host this show, and he does the Hip Hop Evolution show now on Netflix. Great musician. He said to me, don't forget that people don't know how amazing their lives are because they've lived it.
Exactly.
You know?
That's very true. You don't realize because it's like, yeah, this is my life. You don't know the other end of it, you know? So I'm very lucky.
Yeah, but it sounds like you're coming into it. Last time we talked, you said something to me like you feel. We were talking about your music video, right? We were talking about where you're wearing this gigantic shirt.
My suit, yeah.
And you were saying to me, Yeah, I feel, yeah, I say gigantic shirt. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
whatever.
That's how familiar I am with suits.
Gigantic shirt.
You know, one of those big shirts that has a second shirt that goes like this?
Like a piece of a shirt that like you
Yeah,
tie
yeah,
around
yeah.
your
And it
neck.
gets attached to another shirt down here. Weird
Two, yeah.
shirts you're lacing up. It's not going well. The but you said it was a metaphor. You told me. You were
Yes.
Like, you said I feel like a youngster. So I would say to Newfoundland. I
Yes.
feel like, watch this edit point. You feel like a child who's, thank
That's
you.
good.
You feel like
No, I ruined it.
That's all right. They don't edit anything. You feel like a child kind of living in this adult world, but,
Yeah.
I don't know. I can just tell that you got somewhere with that, even in the year I've talked to you. Does it feel like that?
Thank you. I hope so. Admittedly, some days it doesn't. Some days it feels like it went backwards. But again, it's never a linear thing, which is something to remember. In anything in life, nothing is ever linear. Healing's not linear. Reflecting and understanding is never like this. It's going to be like this and then like this, and then you feel like you got it, and then the next day you don't. And so the place I'm in currently, I feel like I'm a lot better, and then some days you forget it all, and then you have to relearn it. And I think that's life, though. That's in anything, like regardless of what lifestyle you have or what you're going through. It's never going to be like a one-way street, you know.
Hey, nice to talk to you.
Good to talk to you too.
Let's do this again in a year.
Yeah, we'll see where I'm at. Hopefully, I'm not like I'm horrible.
I think I'll be doing that. I'll be going, oh, this really didn't work out.
No, it was great.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you.